Today in reading, we are going to be using our Vipers and the explanation text all about paint to understand the text in further detail. So let's remind ourselves of our reading Vipers. We have V for vocabulary, I for infer, P for predict, E for explain, R for retrieve, S for sequence or summarize. This week you have looked at vocabulary skills and retrieval skills already. Now today we are going to tune in to sequencing and summarizing. And over here we have a picture there to show us what they mean. Now when we summarize a piece of text, it means we just pull out the key facts, the key information that it's telling us. And it's just like when you squeeze the juice from an orange, okay, you just get out all of the important parts. So there are lots of skills in summarising and it is really tricky. There are a few people who always need to summarise information, and some of those people might be reporters or policemen. They might have a long statement and they just need to pick out the main parts. So let's look at an example and how we can be successful. Here I have a really long paragraph, okay, with lots of sentences and lots of words. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you and then we're going to work together to pick out the main points of information. One lovely summer's evening, Mr. Stubbs was taking a stroll to his favourite supermarket because he wanted to buy some delicious chocolate. His favourite chocolate bar was the one covered in sprinkles and marshmallows. As he was walking down the long path, he began crossing a bridge, when suddenly he stopped. He couldn't quite believe his eyes. In the distance, there was a tiger, a real-life tiger. The tiger was roaming around Lighthouse Street all by himself. Mr. Stubbs quickly phoned the police to inform them about the terrifying tiger wandering the streets before it could hurt anyone. The policeman on the phone told Mr. Stubbs that the tiger had escaped from London Zoo that morning. He said the tiger jumped over the fence at 10 o'clock and the zookeepers had no idea where he went. Luckily, Mr. Stubbs saved the day and the people of Lighthouse Street. Phew! Okay, there we have a massive, a huge paragraph there of lots of information, lots of words. But now we need to kind of sift through the most important facts. And we can do that using some questions to help us. So when we summarise, it's important that we always need to know who the text is about, what is happening, why it's happened, maybe where it's happened, when it's happened, or how it's happened. So let's look at these and see if we can just pick out, first of all, highlight the key points in this text. So who? Mr. Stubbs is the person that was walking along. What did he see? Well, we know he saw a tiger. Okay? Why was the tiger there? The tiger had escaped from London Zoo. Okay? And where was the tiger? Well, we know the tiger was roaming around Lighthouse Street. So that's a place he was. And we know Lighthouse Street is in London. Okay? When did this happen? So at what point? We know it was in the morning and specifically at 10 o'clock. How did this happen? Okay? And we know from our text that the tiger jumped over the fence. So there we have pulled out the key points that all of these sentences are telling us. Okay, Mr. Stubbs saw a tiger on Lighthouse Street that had escaped from London Zoo in the morning and he jumped over the fence at 10 o'clock. So all of the rest of these words give extra information or give extra detail, but they don't tell us the real main points. So now we've highlighted and selected the key points. What we need to do is we need to write those points in our own words to show that we can just read out the main points. So I've written a sentence here to summarise my findings. So I know that Mr. Stubbs saw a tiger in Lighthouse Street that had escaped from London Zoo. The tiger jumped the fence at 10 a.m. And I've used 10 a.m. here instead of 10 o'clock in the morning because I'm trying to use as few words as possible. Okay, and I know that 10 a.m. means the morning. Okay, so there instead of writing 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. still tells me that same information. So there I've reduced down this whole paragraph here, all these sentences with some lovely adverbs and adjectives, but I've just picked out the key points. that Mr. Stubbs saw a tiger on Lighthouse Street because it jumped the fence at 10 a.m. Okay, so that is our summarising skills, juicing out the main information. Right, today you are going to summarise the text of All About Paint. So you're going to independently squeeze out the main facts that the author is trying to tell us. Okay, now let's look at our steps to success. So the first thing you need to do is read through the text carefully. I know you've already read it, but it's best to have it fresh in our head. Then you're going to read the question. Read the question that you will have on your task sheet, okay, and you need to understand what it is asking you to do, okay. Then you need to find the part of the text that relates to the question. So if it's asking you to summarise all about paint, then you would need to look at the paragraph all about paint. Then you need to answer answer using the main ideas from the text, okay. So you're summarising the text only, and you can only use that information. Try your best to use your own words. This is a really tricky skill to do, okay, but try your best to reword it and retell it yourself. So, just to help you, we're going to start summarising the first paragraph, okay? So it says, firstly, we'll focus on the first paragraph together, and then you are going to independently answer questions by yourself. So we have the introduction paragraph here, and the title is All About Paint. So, firstly, I'm going to read the question. Can you summarise in a sentence the opening of the text? If you don't like it, paint over it. It's certainly true that paint has the power to change things. You can brighten up a room with a colourful picture in much the same way that you can make your house look more attractive with a fresh coat of paint. This is probably why we think of painting as some kind of alchemy, a way of using chemicals to change something we don't like into something we do. But have you ever stopped to think what paint is or how it works, what chemicals it contains, and what they actually do? Let's take a closer look. So I need to summarise the main points in this text. So first I'm going to highlight just the key information. And I know that paint is what it is about, okay? And it's telling me that it has the power to change things, okay? So, I know this again because it repeats it here. It says change something we don't like into something we do, okay? But I'm just going to write the key information, and this whole paragraph I could summarise in a sentence by saying paint has the power, okay, I'm going to write the sentence, paint has the power to change things, okay? So that is what I would write over that, paint has the power to change things, full stop. That would be me summarising that sentence. What you're going to do now is you're going to independently use your summarising skills, so squeezing that orange, okay, and answer these questions. You will need to, it does ask you to summarise paragraphs in 2 sentences, okay, so go through the text, read the question, go through the text with a highlighter, highlight the main points, and then see if you can reword those key points into your own sentences, okay. It does also ask you to sequence things, to write the order of something. So you'll need to refer back to the text to help you, okay? Let me know if you find any of this tricky and I'll try to respond to you as quick as possible.